Hey everybody, I wanted to talk to you guys about germinating your citrus seeds and the primary technique that I like to use for germinating my seeds, especially in the winter time where we're kind of lacking in warmth even in our greenhouses, and I still want to get a head start on sprouting some of these rarer varieties that I want to grow out for the spring and summer and start testing. But even for you, if you have some fruit at home and you want to grow out their seeds, or if you receive some rare seeds that you're trying to grow, this could even apply to other species and other fruit tree types. But this is pretty universal for all your citrus in particular. So I just have a lemon, but imagine if you had an orange or a grapefruit or a lime, trifoliate orange, whatever you have in front of you, it's pretty much going to work the same. But this is a really easy method for germinating your seeds quicker, and then from there you can transplant them into your pot of choice and get them growing. But let's just start here from the very beginning. Say we have our citrus fruit here. How do we get the seed prepared to germinate? So of course first we have to cut it open and see if we have any seeds and how many seeds we have to work with. So you may notice this I've done with the taste tests of the different hardy citrus. Whenever you're cutting a citrus fruit, I like to cut it this way. I learned this from Virginia Fruit Grower, where you essentially cut it all along the axis here. You could, I suppose, do it this way, but this way is a little bit easier to get all the way around. You insert the knife probably about a quarter to halfway through, just enough to get past the rinds and into the vesicles a bit. And what this does is it cuts it enough so you can twist it apart without actually damaging the seeds inside. And if you lined it up a little better than I did just now, you would get two even halves there. So from what I can tell, we might have a seed in here to work with, but figures it would be my luck if this is the one lemon that didn't have any seeds in it. Let's see. All right, so there's nothing in that side. If we I think we really got that unlucky. Wow. Let me get another lemon for you guys to demonstrate. All right, so take two. This ought to be the right lemon. Let's see. We're going to do that same technique, maybe a little better this time. I'm getting a second chance at this. There we go. Line that up perfectly. And that one has some seeds. All right, so we're going to get rid of that lemon that disappointed us there. This one has some seeds to grow, so we can grow some little lemon trees. So what we do is we pop our seeds out here. We've got a couple aborted ones in there that are no good, but this one has a couple other good ones here. I think that one's also good, yeah. So say we got 3 seeds, that's enough to work with for this video. Now these lemon seeds are particularly small. Oranges, grapefruits, things like that tend to have a little bigger seeds. Key limes and kumquats are other ones that can be quite small. But what I like to do is I like to dry these seeds in this paper towel because they will still have some of that slime on them. I don't know if that's the pectin necessarily or just other fluids from the lemon, but they will be a little hard to work with, so I just like to rub them nice and dry here. So now we have 3 dry seeds. All right, and now what you would do from here, when you have your seeds dried, I wonder how up close we can get with these. So if you could see that little seed there, that little piece that's kind of sticking out from the main seed, that's a good place for me to then grab here. And I'm going to pull off, if you can see that there, I pulled off a layer from the outside. Now some people, when they're germinating their citrus seeds, they will peel off that entire skin there. But I'm just peeling off enough where you can see the colors of the seed inside and everything. I've found that this is sufficient versus peeling the entire seeds, because some people will peel the entire outer coat and even peel the inner coat so that you just have this pale white seed, which of course will germinate very fast and easily, but you risk damaging the seed a lot more. This alone, just peeling that one little piece, is enough to expedite the process. You will have it germinate quicker just by doing that. So if you go and peel all these seeds in that same way, kind of grabbing a piece that sticks out to you and then peeling it down. It's not too hard once you get used to it. So you'll find yourself able to peel these pretty quickly and get through a bunch just like that. You don't even have to do that necessarily, but I do find at least doing that saves you probably 1 to 2 weeks of wait time compared to not doing it. You'll probably still have an equal level of success, but if you're impatient, this is your method you want to go with. Now from there, I can show you a lot of the varieties that we've already placed inside Ziploc bags with damp paper towel. So not wet, but damp. And I could show you here. I have these sitting in this jar because this has been actually above our grow light here because it's perfect as a heat mat, but you could of course just use a normal heat mat. But I have these all together and it's really easy to see, which is why I like this technique. But we have some rare ones like Citralden and Glen Citrangidin, some different Trifolia orange strains, and another one that we suspect is a hybrid. I think I actually spelled it wrong here too, but this is from a friend who found this particular variety. And it seems to be some sort of maybe F2, F3 hybrid. Anyways, these are some pretty rare seeds that I care about a lot. So I have them sprouting in this method because 1, I'm impatient and I really want to see them. But 2, I want to really make sure they germinate, and I find sometimes this is even safer than just sowing them straight into the dirt. But what you can see here is I cut out a small piece of paper towel, inserted it into these little plastic bags. You could use a larger Ziploc bag, but I ordered these online because they're jewelry bags, and they're actually the perfect size, both for me shipping seeds to someone, but also if I receive seeds and want to germinate them in a small space, this is perfect because I can stack a bunch of these into this jar here, set it on our grow light, and forget about it. And it's been really cool because, let's see if I could show you guys a good example. If you could see up close there, some of those are already germinating and sending out roots. Here's another good one. So it's really cool to see inside there. That's why I like this too, using these clear bags, as you can see as they're growing, and once they've rooted out and started sprouting, you can then transplant to some soil, which I'll show you how I like to do that too. So we'll pick from one of these here, and actually this is a good way you can gauge the moisture too. You see how everything's sweating in here, but I did wring out the paper towel. So I wet these and I squeezed it. I didn't want it soaking, but it's damp enough where there's some humidity in there, and the seeds are in the right conditions, the right moisture and humidity to sprout. So let's see, we'll go into number 8 here because I see one that looks pretty good in there. I'm gonna take our tweezers and see if I can grab that specific one. Very gently. You do have to be careful with these because the roots are very fragile at this stage. But look at that, isn't that cool? So that is your first immediate sign of success. I can see if I can show you one that's even earlier on in germinating, probably from this bag here. Okay, and that's like a good beginning stage one because you could see it's just starting to shoot out that root there. And so that's the sign we're looking for, that these are good to go. And you can see there that seed coat that was peeled, that is just enough to let that moisture in so that this can start expanding and growing and shoot that root out nice and easy without having to go through anything. We're going to put that back in there. I am going to transplant these very soon actually, maybe in the next day or two, just because they've sprouted already. But the ones with roots, we know for sure I'm going to be transplanting. And I've actually already taken out a few of the Glen Citrangidin. I'm still waiting on Citralden, but if you guys don't know of these varieties, I was able to get some pretty rare seeds from the USDA here of both of these varieties. So both of these are Calamondin and Trifolia orange hybrids. So they're really cool. I've heard good things about Glen. I've heard nothing about Citralden, so naturally I had to grow it and find out what it was about. But when it comes to transplanting these, what I like to use are actually these little tree cones here, because I could stack a bunch of these in a box or something and then put it under a grow light, or if I'm putting it out in the greenhouse. But I can basically just rest this on top of the soil there, and then we can kind of move it around, get those roots all nice and happy in there. I'm being very gentle because I don't want to break them. So it can take a little maneuvering. It doesn't have to be perfectly in there, because as long as it's humid enough that those roots and everything, they're not going to dry up. So see, I've kind of like put it in the soil there, and then I would just water this in and it's pretty much good to go. And I don't know if any of you guys noticed, but this is common with citrus. There's two little roots there. That's because sometimes these seeds are polyembryonic, meaning there's more than one embryo in there, and you can get more than one tree from a single seed, which is a really cool occurrence with citrus, and it's not super common in a lot of other fruit trees. But that's something really cool to show you guys here. You can see how these are already actively working, and I'm really excited to see if the Citralden starts showing us some sprouting soon too. I'm not seeing anything too promising yet, but we will see. But again, I did take a few out of the Glen already that had sprouted, so those have been doing really good. But anyways, this is a nice, simple method for you guys to try out. It's relatively inexpensive and it's very easy. Again, you don't even necessarily need a heat mat, but if you can keep these somewhere warmer in your house, not hot, but warmer, where it's probably at least in the 70s, if not, I think ideally in the 80s is pretty good for the seed germination across the board. Some trifoliate hybrids may need a bit of cold stratification, so if they've already been through several days or weeks of winter cold, that is great, but they can still germinate without it. The rates of germination may just be a little iffy though. I think I've seen for pure trifoliate orange, 1 month of cold stratification was more than enough to get a very excellent germination rate, and I assume it's a bit shorter for a lot of the hybrids, but I haven't exactly tested that. For a lot of them, I've just harvested the fruit when it's already been cold out, then taken the seeds out and germinated them, and had no issues whatsoever with them, so it just kind of depends. But again, try this out with some other varieties. Try it out even with different fruit trees. You could do this for apple seeds, pear seeds, pomegranate seeds. I've done this with peach seeds. If you crack open that pit, take out the seed, peel off a little bit of the skin, it's the exact same thing. You can germinate peach trees very, very quickly with this method. And I've had some really great peach trees starting way ahead of the season, which is great. So I know for sure it can work with those varieties, and you can get even more creative with what you want to try. But it's a very simple, low-cost method, and great for us impatient folks who can't wait until the spring to start sowing our seeds and growing them. So I hope this is kind of useful for some of you guys. I know some of you are probably already trying something similar, but this is my preferred method that I like to use, and it's what I've been sticking to in the recent couple years when it comes to germinating seeds like this. So I hope this is helpful. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye for now.